What's up, Brad?
Hey man, how are you?
Good, good. All right, so I'm gonna kick off today's podcast with a random question, a
All
little
right.
more of like a get to know Brad moment. So, people may not know this about you, but you're a big traveler. You like to travel. You like to see new places. You
Yep.
like to experience new places, eat
Sure.
different foods.
Yep.
I'm gonna give you the opportunity to, in order, tell me your top three places you've ever visited and why? Starting with the
Oh,
third all the way to the top place.
okay. Let's go. The third was or is because I've been multiple times. I would probably say out west in Montana and Wyoming.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Man, like Yellowstone, Jackson Hole, Bozeman, just man, the whole area. The Grand Tetons are
Yeah.
unbelievable. Um, so let's start there with third. Number two. Um, Number two, I would say is I would say Hawaii, probably.
Really?
Yeah, Hawaii was definitely nice, man. Um, yeah, definitely picturesque. And then number one, um, I think is hasn't happened yet.
That's a
I,
perfect answer.
I think, yeah, like, man, I haven't done too much traveling outside of the US. I have Roatan and Honduras is really nice. Cuba is awesome. And obviously that hits home for me. Um, but
I thought you were gonna maybe say something up in the because you love the Northeast so much.
man, Bar Harbor, Maine, all of that along the coast there is all beautiful. But and I have a great time up there, but it's I think the first thing hasn't happened yet. Like where I'm just like,
Mhm.
man, this is like, oh my gosh, that's the best ever. I'm also gonna go to Europe this year. So
That'll be great.
that's probably gonna rank up there.
Well, sounds like that's probably an RV housing team trip that we need to go on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for
I'm
sure,
excited
for
to be
sure.
on
We need
that
to have
one
our
with you.
next meeting there.
That's awesome. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what makes a great on-site housing partner, and we probably could do a whole episode that would be as helpful or more helpful on what doesn't make a great on-site housing partner. Because
Sure.
there's a lot of that out there, but we just want to talk about how to ensure quality, reliability.
Yep.
Um, and it's unfortunate, but really not all and really no two temporary housing partners are the same. Doesn't mean they're all bad. There's
Sure.
different qualities, different things. Something
Right.
that you're really passionate about is you it's important to you to be the best. And
Yep.
you've been unapologetic about that. You want people to be like, "Hey, we only use RV Housing Group." And the reason why is because they offer the best service, the best quality,
Yep.
all those different things. It's really important to you. Um, So let's just start more in generalities. What separates a great temporary housing provider from an average one in your mind, your experience?
Well, just based on experience, man, it's
Hey, hang on 1 second before you answer that. My dog's growling like crazy. I gotta beat her ass and put her up. Hold on.
yeah. I think, first of all, it's just about being understanding how to be a good partner, right? It's understanding that we are a partner, right?
Mhm.
And that we're not just uh a company that's kind of doing our own thing. Like we're very thoughtful about our clients, right? And understanding how they do business and their whys and you know just making sure that we are like an arm
Mhm.
of their business, right? Um, and I think from there, it's just making sure that we do everything that we can on our end to pay attention to all of the details, right? There's so many things that can fall through the cracks in what we do. And I'm always thinking through little ways that we can do things a little bit better, right? And ultimately in hopes that that will make what we do in our partnership better. And I think that as long as we continue to think along those lines, how, rather than being complacent, how can we be better, right? Just
Yeah,
because we're doing well today doesn't mean we'll do well tomorrow. So let's look at how we can continue to improve on the things that we do. And I think as long as we have that mindset, I think our clients and our partners, right, are noticing. They're taking notice of our willingness to make sure that we're trying to be as good as we can be at everything we do.
that's great. What are some red flags maybe that an insurance rep should look out for, when choosing a housing vendor? What are some of the things that they should pay attention to?
Well, first of all, hearing someone tell them that that they can do just as good of a job as the people that they're using, right?
Mhm,
Um, and I've heard that many times, and there's kind of a it's kind of a running joke for on-site providers, is, oh, hey, we have the best service, we have all of our units are new and all of this stuff, right? And it's just over promising and under delivering, right? I mean, at
yeah,
the end of the day, and that's been one of my sticklers from the beginning, is that we've got to do what we're telling people we can do. Otherwise, you'll never last in this business, right? I mean,
right.
it's pretty cutthroat,
Well, too
And
many
like I always tell
situations
my
are
team,
complicated, right? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like
oh,
like every
yeah,
case is different. So to go in and just give a blanket, here's what we can do for you. It's naive.
abs 100%. Yeah, every situation is different. Every placement we do is unique. There's going to be different nuances to every single placement that we have. And it takes time to learn those things, man. This is not something that, and shoot, I always say I've learned so many things the hard way, unfortunately,
Mhm,
right? But also fortunately, because that's helped me understand the industry better, right? And it's helped me learn valuable lessons, and what mistakes not to make again, and all of those things. And it, I think I could be doing this for 40 more years, and I'm still going to continue to run into issues, that I've never seen before. Right?
mhm.
That's just, man, that's the nature of the beast in this business for sure.
Yeah, which honestly, you love. I mean, that's part of what you and the team loves is we love to. I mean, listen, not that we want things to be difficult, but we love to try to figure out how to solve complex situations. And that's our team kind of specializes in that.
Yeah, I think we're good at it, right? And I don't. It's like, do we love it? I don't know. We embrace it for sure,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
we're good at it. We have kind of mastered the art of problem solving and finding solutions to issues and situations that are not typical, right?
Hmm.
And that certainly is great, because we'll have clients approach us with a very unique situation, and they're like, I don't think that we can, I don't think that you're going to be able to help us, but I'm just throwing it out there because you guys are usually really good at figuring excuse me, figuring something out. And and then boom, it's like, okay, all right, we figured it out. And they're like, man, that's awesome. That's why, I knew we could
Hmm.
call you. And if anyone could do it, you guys could do it. Right.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's a great feeling. And it's great to get those calls, because that means too that they trust us. Right.
Hmm. Hmm.
um and so, yeah, we'll keep doing it. I don't see that ever stopping, because there's so many unique situations, and almost like barriers that people are up against, that they reach out to us about, hoping that we can kind of find a solution for them.
Yeah, I love that. So let me ask you this question: how does RV housing how how do we vet our fleet of RVs when it comes to making sure there's consistency and comfort, and when someone's going to get an RV from us, that it's up to our standards?
Well, I mean, we want to use only provide newer units, right? Um, we want to make sure that everything that we do as we're getting these units prepped to go out, they're extremely clean, that everything is in working order, that they haven't been used and abused for years. I mean, that's the other thing is that we're constantly turning over our fleet, so we're not going to continue to um place RVs on long-term placements because you get a lot of wear and tear, right?
Right.
Without either completely remodeling them, or we sell it off, to purchase something new. That way the insured, or the policyholder can have something that's in really good condition, right? Because
Yeah,
we don't want them to be getting second best. We want them to have really nice units,
that's
you
right.
know?
That's right. What are are there some common complaints that insurance reps hear from policyholders about temporary housing? I'm just curious, what are some common things that come up, and then how the follow-up question to that would be, how do we address those pain points?
Yeah. Um, I think that especially in on-site housing, right, and what we
Mhm.
do, um, a lot of it is, can we live in an RV, right? When we've been living in our home, because there's no home that's not going to be larger than an RV we're going to provide, pretty much,
Right, right.
So it's like, can we do this for 3 months or 6 months or 8 months, right? And I think that in order to answer that, you also have to really weigh out, the benefits as well, right? So that's certainly one of the cons, if you will, but the
Mhm.
pros, when you lay everything out, may really outweigh that, and so whether it's, it has to do with your kids or your job or being on your property for whatever reason, right? And I think that as long as as long as you can look at this being a temporary solution rather than your long-term living, then you can get by and get past some of those things, that you may not you typically deal with when you're living in a house.
Sure, sure. Well, there's something that I think that when it comes to pain points that you've invested a lot in, both personally, from a leadership standpoint, and also from a team standpoint, which is customer service. And we talk about this almost every episode because it's so important to the culture that you're creating.
Yep.
Um, but a lot of companies don't have a team of people that can answer if they come up with an issue in their RV, right? A lot of it is like, hey, we're just going to deliver this RV and you're on your own, and hopefully you don't have any issues with it. And if you do, they're blowing up the insurance rep with all these issues.
Yep.
Talk about that a little bit, because it's really important for you that once we deliver the unit, we want to be the point of contact for any issues so that there's no headaches for the insurance rep. And we have a team that is able to either solve the problem over the phone or quickly get a tech out on site to fix the issue, which I think is a differentiator for our company. Talk a little bit about the importance of that and kind of how that process works for us.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to the other question you asked me about, some of the red flags with other companies, and one of those would be for sure that I didn't mention, and then I'll expound on it, but is so many companies don't have a level of service at all after they drop the unit off, right? So things can go immaculately up until drop off, right? Even the trailer is nice, right?
Hmm.
But what happens when those people have an issue, right? How well are they being taken care of when issues arise? And that's what you're referring to with us for sure. We have a number that has a live person that they're going to talk to when they have an issue, and these RV techs will troubleshoot them over the
Hmm.
phone. right? Because a lot of the stuff we deal with is user error. You know what I mean? They just don't.
Right.
They're in such an emotional headspace. They don't remember all the things that we tell them. You know, whatever. You know, and it's minor things. They just don't remember, and so we put that into the user error category. Well, we need to have somebody that actually knows about these units and that can help actually diagnose the issue with them over the phone. Otherwise, it's just wasting everybody's time. And so what they're
Right.
going to do is they're going to talk to one of our techs, and the tech is going to walk them through how to troubleshoot these issues. And then in the case where we cannot figure that out, then we're going to get a local tech to come out and fix the problem, right? And this is something that, as you know, is really important to me, but
Mhm.
with our whole team. We want to make sure that the issues that they're experiencing are taken care of quickly, because we all know that they've already dealt with enough. So we want to make sure that they're taken care of as issues arise. And that's not something we take lightly at all.
Right, and let's be honest, I mean, a lot of the reasons why insurance reps sometimes won't actually offer up RVs as an on-site solution is because of the headache they might get from the policyholders, right? Like, we can just call
Hmm.
that for what it is. And so a lot of
For
times
sure.
it will take a policyholder actually asking specifically for an insurance rep that they want an RV. We're trying to change that narrative a little bit. And how we're changing it is through offering this kind of customer service. And one of the reasons why they don't sometimes pitch an RV as a solution is because all they can think of is, man, this is just going to be a lot of headache, or this is going to be
Yep.
less profitable for me, or whatever it might be.
For sure.
You care deeply about that. You want to partner with people on those two things specifically. Can you speak a little bit to those things?
Yeah. 100%, man. Look, best case scenario is they don't hear from the policyholder through the duration of their stay unless they're calling to check in on them, right? And then they can hear, yeah, hey, everything is going well. When issues arise, we are their point of contact. They're going
Mhm.
to reach out to RV Housing Group. Hey, the heat's not working, right? Okay. The reps do not want to hear about that stuff. I can promise you. And that's why I've built the business the way that I have. And that's why we staff so many people, right? I mean, so many of my competitors do not have the staff that I have,
Mhm.
because, and it's important to me. I'm just like, every time I find a hole, I'm like, hey, everybody's already working as hard as they possibly can. We can't add that to somebody else's plate. We have to hire somebody, right? This
Right.
is all because I want to be the absolute best. You said it earlier. That is exactly true. You know me very well. I make no bones about it. So, in this, in this instance, when it comes to service, it's no different, man. We want to make sure that these people are taken care of just like we would take care of our family if they were in the same situation.
That's awesome, and on that same note, you've already talked about it a little bit, but what are some things that housing reps should ask kind of when evaluating even us or a provider? I mean, so we've talked a little bit about that. We've talked about what does your service department look like? How are you gonna
Yeah.
to handle that? You know, units, like what does your fleet look like? What is it, what kind of RV is there anything else that insurance reps should kind of check those boxes, communication maybe, like maybe that's another one where, what does that look like? I know one of our VPs, Chris, just to give a shout out, that is the most like he is on top of it with communication. And a lot of the
Oh yeah.
reps deal with him and he comes from that world. So he knows what it's like to be on the other
Right.
side.
Right.
So, man, you talk about a guy that's glued to his email and responding all day long because we
Absolutely.
know that's a big
Yeah.
part of being a great partner.
Absolutely. Well, Chris has brought us a lot of value, right, and a lot of clout in this space because he did it for 20 years. So he sat on that side for 20 years, right? So he knows exactly what they're looking for. Um, and I think that that's really important because we're always, whether it comes to a quote that they're requesting, they're getting it like that. We're responding very quickly to get them the quote they need. Whether it's a service issue, if it happens to get on their desk, or they get a phone call about it, we're taking care of that quickly. It doesn't really matter what it is, man. Our communication is unbelievably good
Yep.
and quick.
Yep.
And I think that's what it has to be, and I think that's why we've grown so much, man. I think
Yeah.
that's why we continue to see growth every year is because these little things that some people don't do a great job at really, really matter to us that we do a phenomenal job at it.
Right. Right. Real quick before I let you go, I want to talk a little bit about like emergency placement. So I know a lot of time, like almost all of our clients, especially when we work in the insurance space, it's speed is the name of the game. We're trying to get
Yeah.
things to them quick. But how do we handle the real last minute emergency placements? What's your thought process around that? Are we equipped to handle that? And what does that look like from our side of
Yeah.
things?
Yeah, we are. We're equipped to handle that. I mean, we've done same day deliveries before.
Yeah.
It's more the exception than the rule, but we have definitely, if we hear from a rep and they're like, "Hey, this is a dire situation. This family has no way. There's no hotels around. There's no housing around. They literally are going to sleep in their car tonight if we can't get a unit out to them." Then that's all hands are on deck, and
Yep.
we usually will figure that out. So
Yep.
we have the capability to do it. There's just with what we do, there's things that have to, we've got to think of utilities, right? So power, water, and sewage. Now sometimes we've had situations where we drop the trailer off and that's kind of an afterthought because they just need a safe place to stay.
Sure. Sure.
um, but yeah, I mean, we certainly have the ability to do that. It's something that we can do. We've done in different cat situations,
Hmm.
but most of the time we want to make sure the property is prepared
That's right.
to
Yep.
receive the RV. And that way it's a win for everybody. There's no kind of, oh man, we forgot to do this, we forgot to do that. However, it's certainly possible.
Sure. Sure. Well, what I'm hearing you say is it's about quality, it's about service, reliability,
Yep.
like consistency. You know what you're going to get every
Yep.
time. If a
Yep.
problem comes up, emergency, whatever, we're going to work it out. We're going to jump in, we're going to roll up our sleeves, and we're going to be a partner for you
For
and
sure.
work that out. Any
Yep.
final words about being a great provider, a great housing partner for our insurance reps?
I think it would just be number one, we're super thankful. We're really thankful for the business that we've received to date. But we hope to continue to grow. If you have not done business with us, I would encourage you to give us a try. We are so many of the reps we deal with throughout the insurance industry. Like they absolutely they pack no punches when it comes to letting us know that we're the best. We're the best they've
Mm,
ever dealt with. And so, if you haven't given us a try, man, I'd love to give us a shot, right? And let us prove to you, uh, how thorough we are and why we do what we do.
yeah, it's good stuff. We can reach us through our website, rvtemphousing.com. You can request a quote on there, or you can just reach out and contact us
Yeah.
directly, or even our leadership team, you and Kristen and Chris and whatever, if we need to jump on a
Yep.
call and just have a conversation, whatever it takes,
Yep.
again, just to
For sure.
reemphasize, like we're a relational team and we want people to
Yeah.
feel like it's not uncommon for us to go to a city and take our partners out to dinner just to say thanks and to get to know them, and that
Absolutely.
we want them to
Yep.
know who's working with them. And so
For sure.
I appreciate what you said, because we do have a great deal of gratitude for our great partners all over the country.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, Brad. Thanks, man. Another great
Okay, man.
episode, and we'll
Alrighty.
be back at it next time.
All right. Sounds good. Take care, man.
See you, bud.